Good evening, folks. My name is Ed Osworth, and you've got me here in RosinHeart's labs. Yes, this is Bessie here, the 20-ton press, and she creates the most delicious concentrated THC substance on planet Earth, at least in my opinion, and I've been smoking since I was 17 years old. Tonight we're going to make some rosin, the mysterious rosin that you've heard about and maybe seen in the dispensaries and hopefully have tasted, because it is worth going out of your way to find some and taste some, let me tell you. That's what got me started on this about 6 months ago. And it's a relatively new phenomena, and I went out and I'm a research hound, and I researched every possible thing I could find out about rosin. I read every forum post for months, and then I was lucky enough to get in contact with two of the top rosin makers in the state and was able to talk with them. And the end result was this press here, which is the best way to go, really, is to create your own press. And the technique that I'm going to show you, which has been developed after literally about 113 presses that I have done in experimentation before I came up with the method. So what we're going to do here is we're going to do something that almost seems absurd. We're going to take 40,000 pounds of pressure and we're going to apply it to 2 grams of bud. Now this is a pre-pressed 2 grams of a wonderful strain called LSD, one of my favorites. And I actually bought specific vices for pre-pressing, and didn't really like any of them, and actually have ended up using a 15-pound tortilla press, which has worked out ideally for me. And because for me the ideal is 2 grams and as close to a circular formation as you can get, and that's really easy to do. You don't even really need to press. If the bud is sticky, you can push it together yourself. What we do with this 2 grams, we're going to put it on some nice clean silicone coated parchment paper. If you start doing this, please do your research on parchment paper. You do not want to use Reynolds wrap or most of the papers out there, because they don't use silicone anymore. They use something that's actually made out of chrome. It's called Quilon. Used to be in the bread business, so I know a whole lot about the materials that are used in baking and cooking, etc. Which essentially what we're doing is cooking here. This up here is the controlling unit. This is a digitally controlled unit that sends information to the heaters. These heaters extend across these 3x5 plates. There's a heater for the top and a heater for a bottom plate, and this top plate is mounted directly to this 40,000 pound press. So we try to get this in the center of the sheet here. A little light here. It really helps me out with making sure everything is in the proper place. And we center it under the plates here, actually between the plates I should say, top and the bottom plate. Even though this is showing 226 degrees, that's not the actual temperature. The actual temperature I measure with thermometers that I keep here right between the plates, or at just about 200 degrees. So, without further ado, let me reset the timers here. And we will start. What I do to begin with is what I call a warm-up. We're going to warm the bud up, a preheat, and get it heated up before we actually put the super heavy pressure on it. And that means closing your plates till you're just feeling some slight resistance. At that point I start the timer, because we probably have about, well, maybe a couple of 100 pounds of pressure actually here, because a little resistance here is leveraged tremendously in a press like this. So after about 30 seconds, we're going to apply a lot more pressure, but not full pressure. This jack I'm using is both manual and powered by hydraulics, depending on the need, and I only use hydraulics later in the procedure, as you'll see. So we've been 30 seconds in preheat. Now we do about 2 full strokes on this particular press. What I'm doing, I've measured this before, we're raising the pressure up to about 800 pounds per square inch, maybe 600, 800. I've gotten different readings, and we wait about 20-25 seconds. So the timer is definitely my friend in this procedure. Okay, now another stroke and a half, and we are at high pressure here, folks. And now we wait about another 15 seconds before we bring down the hammer. By that I mean the hydraulic press, because we're actually going to put full pressure onto this. Okay. And there you go. So right now, we got 40,000 pounds, but it's not really that much because we've got a 3x5 plate, so that's all divided up by that 15 square inches. So what you really have is about 2,500 pounds per square inch, and that's assuming that this puts out the full 20 tons, which it may or may not. But in any case, I have found applying the hammer at the end of the procedure increases my output quite a bit. So we are almost done here. Oops. Okay. And here we go. And now, let me see if you can see this. I don't know if you can. But all of that dark, all of this dark stuff. See how big that bud is spread, those buds have spread into, and all of this dark stuff around the bud, if you can see it, is rosin. And remember, we only started out with 2 grams. So the next step in the process is to put this stuff in the freezer, which I'm going to do now. And I want to thank you for watching. Happy smoking.